week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of the shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last thoughts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 259.
Huzzah!
Mr. Samich, we both have different setups going today. We didn't tell each other we were doing this. Yours is more noticeable than mine. I just am now using a tripod for my camera. But you got a whole new look going on. You got the Samich Saratoga polo going. You look great. How you doing?
Yeah, baby. Yeah, I cleaned the shit out of my desk today. So that means that I got to raise it up a little bit. I got one of those ergonomical desks. I got my computer up here on a keyboard. I'm sitting back a little further. I'm loving life, man. It's all good now.
Oh, man, this is going to be a fun show today. We are looking at Gulfstream Park's late pick 4 on this Saturday. It's the Florida Derby card. It's all stakes. We're going to have a guaranteed pool of $750,000 for this pick 4. The late pick 5 is guaranteed a $750,000 pool. And the Rainbow 6 at a 20-cent denomination has a mandatory payout on Saturday. So we're here to help you with the last 4 legs of those. If you want the first 2, you can do it yourself. You can listen to Blinkers Off. They'll be on in about an hour and a half after we get started here. And then also check out the Summer Bombs because I know you're going to be looking at Gulfstream Park. 14 races. How long does that take you to put the Summer Bombs together?
It takes a minute. I'm not going to lie. Because you got the 2 pick 5s, but they insert those mid-card pick 4s, which take a little bit more time putting a ticket together. And then, like you said, we got the Rainbow 6 carryover with most likely a $10 million pool coming at us on Saturday. So it takes quite a while to craft the different ways that I want to try and attack that ticket. This late sequence is awfully tough. I'm against a big-time favorite, which if you follow me on Twitter, you shouldn't be shocked by this. So I'm gonna talk about why I'm gonna play against Greatest Honor here in the last leg. And I think this is going to pay quite a bit. I mean, Sadler's Joy may go off as a favorite, which is like the worst favorite ever at Gulfstream Park. And that horse may go off as a favorite again here. So I think this late pick 6 can pay, and I got some opinions. So I'm excited to get this thing going, man.
Aaron and I were on the phone. We were talking about Papa Dude is going to be doing some more stuff for the website soon. So we were talking about that, which is pretty cool. But in the middle of the conversation is when the morning line odds came out. And one of the first things that Aaron caught because he was looking was Sadler's Joy is the favorite. And he was like, what the F is this?
So I haven't seen the morning lines yet. I just assumed Sadler's Joy would be the favorite because everyone likes to bet that horse for no good reason. It's just a classic. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the 3rd place check. But I got no shot at winning, and especially the way Gulfstream Park's turf course is playing right now. If you think that horse can be able to close into a slow pace, good luck. More power to you, my man.
So since I already have the screen share ready for the actual races to go through, here's the Pan American. So Sadler's Joy is your 5-2 favorite. Over Cross Border, who's 3-1. Temple 7-2. So you've got 2 Mike Maker horses right behind Sadler's Joy, who needs the biggest pace collapse in the world to have a shot in a race like this that Mike is talking about. So yeah, that's an interesting move. If you want to play Sadler's Joy, good luck and best of wishes.
Yeah, man. Don't ignore the 8 churn and burn in that race because Leparoux is going to try and get out on the lead and walk his corgi around that track and just see if he can go wire to wire in a ridiculously slow pace going a mile and a half.
Right before we went live, the Gulfstream race, Mike was mad and we got Ryan Henshaw in the chat saying that 2 horse would have been so nice there.
Why do you let Irad through the rail? What the? Oh, it was so frustrating because we played against the 1 horse, and I don't think the 1 was a great favorite coming off Maker on the rail in that turf sprint, and the 2 at 13-1, like a must-use horse just misses, would have completely ballooned the pick 5, and now we're just praying for 4 out of 5s instead. It sucked, man. That was not fun.
Aaron feels, he says, is a heartbreaking loss. Well, I know that this isn't going to be the best thing that you saw this week. So what is the best thing that you saw?
So I got to give a shout out. So I've been on this podcast or this show a couple times. It's called You Better You Bet. You know that I love listening to podcasts. I love having, I can't single task. I have to multitask or else my brain doesn't work. That's why when you see this podcast, I'm looking at the TV, I'm playing tournaments, I'm doing multiple things because that's just how I work. So I always have something on in the background. You Better You Bet. It's a daily sports wagering show. I've been on a couple times for the Kentucky Derby and for the Breeders' Cup. One of the guys on there, Lockie Lockerson, his name's Ken Barkley. is on the most disgusting tear I have seen in a long time. So I did pretty good over the weekend, a little college hoops. So I had a little Bitcoin burning a hole in my pocket. So I decided I was going to play some NBA, and so I just tailed him the last 2 days. Gone 11-1 in 2 days in the NBA.
Holy shit!
Yeah. He is 16-3 over the last 3 days in the NBA. So I got to give him a shout out. He's been doing a great job doing picks. I love how he actually handicaps as well. That's called You Better You Bet, at You Better You Bet, and at Lockie Lockerson is the guy's name.
And it's, sorry, just to clarify, it's the word U, not the letter U, correct?
Yeah, I'll type it into the chat once I'm done talking here. But it's definitely worth a listen. And what I like about it, and my favorite thing, obviously they bring good information, do all that jazz. But it's on from 4 to 8 Eastern every day. So it's a great like background thing for me. When I'm working, it's a great secondary thing to hear about sports betting. And then I'll tail Ken every now and then because I do respect his opinion and his process. And to me, the process is a big part of it because if that's how I handicap horses. I want to make sure the person's process is good because if the process is good, I believe in the results. And he's been on an absolute tear the last 2 days. So definitely want to give him a shout out. Say thank you for making me that money. And definitely say it's worth checking out.
I saw you tweeting about it. I think yesterday you tweeted about how he was on a tear. So I was like, man, I always tend to like, I mean, understandably so. It's one of those things that like when he's hot, like it's immediate. You got to catch fire with it and jump on. But I was like, man, like I always seem to miss these things. And this isn't like I'm not saying I rely on you to tell me whenever somebody's on a hot streak. But so I was like, man, I hear about these things afterwards. And 16-3, 11-1. Yeah, that would have been a nice little streak, you know, on my little $20 win bets here and there to build up a little bit of a bankroll.
It's rare, and obviously it's going to go the other way at some point too, right? Like you're not going 16-3 every single 3 day period, but generally he goes like 1-2-1 or 4-2 or 3-1 in the NBA bets, and I hate betting my own picks in the NBA because I don't know what I'm doing, and so I'll tail him if I'm going to play anything. So want to give him a shout out because he's killed it the last couple of days.
Speaking of basketball, how's your NCAA tournament doing?
I think I'm last in Miranda's pool, so there's that.
Okay.
I had Ohio State in the final two. That went poorly when they ran into Oral Roberts, and I think I have 2 of the 4 final 4 still alive. So I got Gonzaga and somebody else. So, but I have no shot at winning that thing. I burnt that bracket up the first day, which is good because then you can just focus on betting the games game by game.
I'm checking right now. Is Houston still in the tournament? I think Houston's still in the tournament.
Yeah, they're in it.
All right, let's go Cougs. Listen, between the Magic Mike show, blinkers off, everybody's a big fan of Cougars with the Racing Dudes team. The best thing that I saw, Mike, this documentary called The Last Blockbuster. I don't know if you heard about this. It's on Netflix, but which, first of all, ironic that the company that more or less put Blockbuster out of business now hosts the documentary about the last blockbuster in the world. It's in Bend, Oregon, and they've been the last one since, I think, late 2019. It's just a really cool documentary if you grew up going to the video stores, Blockbuster. They talk about, you know, the rise of Blockbuster, how it got built, and then what led to its fall. And then it really focuses on this one woman who runs this Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon, and she in there 7 days a week. Her whole family works there. It's a really cool documentary, and it's not very long. It's only about 80 minutes. So it's on Netflix, called The Last Blockbuster. If you grew up going to video stores and Blockbuster, that thing is really great.
I love the comments. I love like documentaries are one of the big like secondary things. That's when I'm like trying to do 2 things at once. A documentary is one of those things I love having on the background because you kind of jump in and jump out of those. Yeah. You know, it's an easy rewind if you need to go back there, and you don't really miss plot points because it's a documentary. So you know, I like having those on the background. So I'll have to check that one out. Blockbuster to me is like wildly interesting from a business case perspective too, because they were so far ahead and then refused to adjust their business model and then got so far behind. It's amazing how fast they fell.
Yeah, it's they do a great job of highlighting that. And they have a lot of great, so what they did is a lot of the people who were interviewed for the documentary, other than this one woman, are famous or almost famous celebrities who all worked at Blockbusters when they were kids growing up. And so they all talk about what it was like working there. And it's crazy how many times how many different people talk about, you know, well, yeah, we used to, you know, smoke pot in the back room, or we used to do, you know, do this, or we used to sneak because Blockbuster never had adult videos. We used to try and sneak adult videos into some of the cases, all crazy as shit like that. And I also told my wife, like 2/3 in the movie, I realized there's the Venn diagram of the celebrities they interviewed who worked at Blockbusters and the celebrities they interviewed who used to smoke pot or still smoke a lot of pot. It's like a 99% overlap on that Venn diagram. So there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, I used to smoke pot like in the middle of the store. Like they talk about it like it was normal. So anyways, check that out if you're a fan of Blockbuster, if you're 90s kids like Mike and I, even if you're not. My parents loved it too. So And check that out on Netflix. Today's show, we're going to be looking at the Gulfstream Park late pick 4 sequence. All stakes, including the Florida Derby, the Gulfstream Park Oaks. Mike T's, he's against Greatest Honor. I'm against another favorite in one of these sequences. So it's going to get real interesting. Let's get into it, Mike. Riders up. Hey, Mike, did you get any fun in the mail lately?
Yeah, I did, Magic. The folks at manscaped.com sent us what they call the perfect package, which totally fits, by the way. Lots of good stuff inside.
Oh yeah, starting with the electric razor, it's the Lawnmower 3.0. It's cordless, waterproof, rust-resistant, easy to clean. It's a safe way to keep yourself nice and clean below the waist.
Like a freshly mown Gulfstream Park turf course.
The perfect package also included the ball spray toner, which keeps me feeling fresh off the layoff, and anti-chafing deodorant. Every time I'm sweating out the Stronach 5, those inquiry signs, this is a really great product.
Yeah, after that, man, you throw on those premium boxers and you feel absolutely amazing.
What's going to feel even more amazing is for fans of the Magic Mike Show, you go to manscaped.com, use the promo code MAGICMIKE, MAGICMIKE, all one word.
That code's going to give you 20% off plus free shipping on your first order.
But wait, there's more.
Only for the Magic Mike Army. If you use that code Magic Mike and send us a screenshot of your order, we're going to let you pick what track we cover on a future episode of the Magic Mike Show.
And you'll get to send us your Pick 4 ticket in advance so that you can battle head-to-head with the experts on the show.
Wait, it's just Aaron and I?
Go to manscaped.com, use the promo code MAGICMIKE, MAGICMIKE, that's all one word, to get 20% off plus free shipping, plus you'll get to be a part of a future episode of the Magic Mike Show.
Support the Magic Mike Army. Use promo code Magic Mike.
Your balls will thank you. All right, Mike, taking a look at the late pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, March 27th. This might be the Florida Derby card, but we're starting with 3-year-old males on the turf. This is a $100,000 Cutler Bay Stakes, race 11, field of 9 3-year-old males, and the favorite is the number 6 Annex. He's undefeated. 5-2 seems like a little bit of value on a horse that's undefeated. Looks really great through 2 starts, but lots of horses lining up to face him, and both of us we're going to use him, but I think we're going to try and beat him with a little bit of a price here. Where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to play 2 tickets. I'm going to play a 50-cent ticket and a $5 ticket. And the $5 ticket, I am going to single Annex here. I do think Annex is probably your best horse. That last race is a little... It's one of those that's really tough to analyze because you had a horse go out in 22-2, 44-4, and just set this ridiculous pace. You can see it by the past performances. Annex was 22 lengths behind half mile into this race. So that wild pace up front and then the collapse of that pace kind of messes with the race a little bit. So I'm not sure how much we can really take out of it. That's why I don't think this horse is a shorter price on the morning line. I do think this is your best horse, though. If you look at the kind of the progression that you saw from first start to second start, if we take another step forward, which is pretty logical, especially for a horse out of the Bill Mott barn, I think you could see, that low 90s buyers, which kind of towers over this field. So I'm going to single Annex up in the $5 play, but I want to spread out because I'm trying to beat Greatest Honor in the last race. And because of that, I want to make sure that I get there. And so I'm going to spread my 50-cent ticket. Did you have Annex on top as well?
I had 2 horses I thought were must-use, and he was one. The other one that I thought was the 8 Step Dancer, if you want to talk about him as well.
Yeah, Step Dancer was my second horse in here. Look, this horse ran really well. I love the maiden breaking score at Saratoga. Yes, it was statebreds, but the statebred program in New York has taken leaps and strides over the last 4 or 5 years. So that's a pretty good program. I thought that he came home well there. That track was playing really slow that day. There's a 32-track variant, so I'm not too worried about the time. Anytime you win a maiden special weight at Saratoga on the turf as a 2-year-old, it's a good thing. War Dancer is one of those sires that we talked about a lot last year as well. Last year was his first year, so he's a New York sire. It's the only Warfront sire in New York. Having him on the turf is a huge advantage there. I'll be looking for War Dancer horses come this August when we get back to Saratoga. Then goes to Belmont, runs in the Grade 2 Pilgrim, runs back in an overnight stakes, runs well in both of those, doesn't blow the fields away, but look at who he faced 2 back. Fire at Will. Okay, I can give you a pass if you lose to Fire at Will in public sector and your second start as a 2-year-old. This is the first start off the bench. It concerns me a little bit, but Barclay Tag, not so bad, 17% off the bench. One last start, he's 42%, which is pretty nice. But I like the fact that every horse he's shipped down here has been pretty live. 23 starts, 8 of those have hit the board, so he's looking at around 33% in the money rating. I think this horse is going to be ready to go. I think this is an aggressive placement, which tells us this horse is going to be primed. So the 6 and the 8 both made the ticket.
Yeah, what I'll yes and that say Step Dancer being out of an English Channel dam. I think as the season goes on and we get towards the Belmont Derby, when they start really stretching out as 3-year-olds, I think this horse is going to be a legitimate contender as they go longer. I also love that Jose Ortiz is taking the mount here when the horse comes down to Florida. He's 3 for his last 7 rides for Barkley Tag overall. So he doesn't ride from very often, but when he does, the horses tend to be usually pretty damn good. So it's good to see that horse show up here. Let's talk about the third horse that we agreed on. You went 4 deep on the 50 center. I went 5 deep. Hyper focused on the rail. This is the last horse that we agreed on. This is a Todd Pletcher trainee with Irad Ortiz Jr. board. I don't normally love horses that debut in like April, May, June of their 2-year-old season as they get 3 and 4. They don't usually carry that form very well, but this horse seems like he has done it. He won over this turf course and this distance last time out. It was his first time on turf, first time trying to go routing, and it was his first time in, 8 months, 8-month break there. So a very logical, step forward here in his second start off the bench, and he's already won. The concern here, well, he used race day Lasix, and like we'll talk about Known Agenda, another Pletcher trainee in the Florida Derby, you have to try and figure out, did the Lasix really help him that much? I'm going to go on a whim here and say no.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to look at his 2-year-old campaign when you're looking at this horse. The fact that Irad Ortiz rode him on May 9th of 2020, which is after the championship meet. So this is when other tracks are going, main tracks. So there's other big circuits that are running on May 9th. It's not Gulfstream Championships, and it's not Irad's normal landing zone, right? So the fact that he comes down and rides this horse for Pletcher, I think tells you quite a bit about the horse. Horse ends up winning and then goes into a grade 3 and gets Velasquez. So you got 2 big-time jockeys that want to ride this horse at the age 2. You come back, you go onto turf, you run very well, you step up your buyer. Honestly, a 52 buyer in June of a 2-year-old season, and that's pretty comparable to what you'd expect on a 72. So I don't think Lasix was the thing that gave him the big step forward. I think it was just aging up, getting stronger, getting bigger. And I love the fact that we're going right into a graded stakes again, second off. I mean, it shows a lot of confidence in this horse, and the fact that Irad picks the mount back up for Pletcher, I think shows confidence as well. So I think what the one horse is kind of that horse you almost have to use as he's kind of sneaking up into this class.
So this is where we diverge. I'll go ahead and go with one of mine. The 4 Lucky Law is a horse I'm pretty excited about. I like the 6-1 morning line price on him, first of all, but is by No Nay Never, who we talk about a lot with these European horses. No Nay Never is a very strong stallion standing for 150 grand. Patrick Biancone knows how to get horses ready to fire on the big days, especially at Gulfstream Park. This horse's first time routing on turf came here over this course and distance in mid-January, gets a 77 buyer with John Velasquez aboard. Takes a shot in Sam F. Davis. Why not? It's early. It worked for Sole Volante. It worked for Ete Indian. Didn't work for Lucky Law. Okay, now we're back on turf. Now I'm getting Tyler Gaffleone. Look at that last work. 57-2 on a turf course. Like, I almost wonder if that's a mistake because that seems ridiculously fast. So I think this horse is very ready to run. I'm almost a little worried that the horse was, burned out in that workout there, but I really like Lucky Law in this spot. Why did you not use him?
Yeah, 57-2 is pretty quick. Look, this horse needs to take a monster step forward in my mind. And I also prefer No Nay Never sprinting, not going 2 turns. And so the combination of those 2 things really, I like the fact that we went to the Tampa Bay Derby. I think that shows a lot of faith in this horse. So I think that's a positive. But the fact that the horse didn't do much, and we immediately said, okay, nope, pivot, let's go back to the turf course. I'm concerned the horse didn't beat that much when it ran in that maiden special weight. And like, again, I don't want this horse at 2 turns. I'm not sure about what that workout was. I agree. That is eye-popping, like off the page. Yeah. But I'm not sure this horse is fast enough to get the lead, which I think is a concern because I think that's really the tactical advantage that the 4 Lucky Law could have, or Lucky Luke could have, a Law, whatever it is. And I don't like the fact that we get Tyler Gaffleone here. It's not Velasquez. It's not Alvarado. It's not like, a lot of things just don't seem right to me with this horse. The 4th horse I use is who I think is going to be the controlling pace, and that's the reason I use this horse. The 2-horse Fighting Force, who 2 back was your even money favorite, about 2-1 favorite in a $200,000 stakes race over at Sam Houston. Went really fast up front, went 22 and change, 46 and change when no one was holding on that turf course. Still held on to run pretty well. Just draw a line through that last race, and that's one of my big keys here with the 2 Fighting Force. I think if you don't draw a line through that race, then you kind of can't get to this horse. But he doesn't want to be 20 lengths back at the half-mile point. That was the race where I discussed where that runoff leader was. It's the annexed race where someone was literally just went 22 and change, 44 and change, and no one was even close to this horse. I feel like that made Fighting Force uncomfortable in a lot of ways. And if you look back to where this horse has run its best races, it wants to be a couple lengths off the lead or right up on the lead. And when it's able to do that, you see these solid progression. And even with that last race, you still saw a progression in the buyer. Now, I realize we're switching barns. I realize we're going from Pletcher to Engler. Sometimes I think that's a positive, which sounds strange, but Pletcher clearly did not consider this one of his top horses, right? And this is one of the better horses in English Barn. I think it's going to get more attention in that sense. So I'm not as worried about this. This is going to be the last horse on my ticket, and I think it's going to be controlling speed in this spot. So I want the horse on a Gulfstream Park turf that is playing to speed, who is going to be in the lead, turning for home. I think that's going to be the 2-horse Fighting Force.
The biggest thing that concerned me with the 2 Fighting Force is not only is he leaving the Todd Pletcher barn, but Coolmore paid $400,000 for him, and Coolmore privately sold him to whoever the hell Leah Farms is after that Palm Beach stakes race. So that concerns me that Coolmore, after 2 very good, stakes races there, 3 really if you want to count the Denia Beach, 3 good stakes efforts, and Coolmore just said, nope, we're done. I don't like that. Something tells me that this horse is going to start dipping down a little bit, but you made good arguments. So if you're not concerned about that side of things, you think maybe they just made a mistake. They do. They're human. Fighting Force is a good fit here.
Yeah, I like the cutback to a mile. I like the fact that I do think we're going to be controlling speed. And look, this horse wasn't going to be a star in Coolmore's stable, right? And this is a $400,000 Air Force Blue, son of Air Force Blue. Like this is a really the pedigree is there. Everything is there. This just wasn't going to be that good of a horse for Coolmore, but it's a great fit for this specific barn. Sometimes just because they're cutting their losses doesn't mean that this horse doesn't have talent. I think that can be confusing sometimes.
Nick Feldman in the chat, which by the way, Nick Feldman was chatting with Dr. Miranda when her preview of the Gulfstream Park Oaks aired this morning. He's talking about King of Dreams, and he's pointing to 2 back. The only time this horse tried turf, went gate to wire, a mile and 16th over this course, was using Lasix. Also, Nick says, well, he came home in 29 seconds. Yeah, Nick, how slow were they going early when he was leading? 24-4, 49 flat. You're not getting that in this race, and I'm not convinced that this horse can do anything if he's not on the lead, because the other 2 races when he wasn't on the lead, he didn't end up winning. Real quick, your thoughts on the 5 King of Dreams, Mike?
I looked at this horse. I agree with you. I don't think this horse can make the lead, and I think that's a pretty big concern. I think this horse needs to be controlling speed or be comfortable. And I just look, if you go 24-4 and 49, you're probably 6 lengths off the lead in this spot. And that's just not where I think the 5 horse wants to be. Jaramillo may try and chop him up a little bit early and get him out to the lead, but I really think that you're going to end up seeing the controlling speed on the 2, and maybe the 3 goes as well. But I think that the 2 trips out, and from a class perspective, I take the 2 over the 3 or the 5 in that sense. And that's why I kind of landed on that leader versus one of those other 2. Look, if you hate the 6, you could pop the all button here, and I wouldn't say you're wrong. But you really have to have a big opinion, which I kind of do in the next race. You could do that. And I think you also have to find a way to fade Greatest Honor in the last. So it really depends how you want to structure your ticket in this case. But I mean, to me, the speed horse that's really the threat here is the 2 horse, not the 5 or the 3.
The 5th horse that I use, and we'll go real quick on this, is cutting back from, is stretching out after spurting last out, going all the way outside the 9, full meanie. Carlos David claimed this horse 2 back out of Mike Maker, which isn't usually a move that I love, but Carlos David's very good training, especially off the claim. He's putting Paco aboard, and this is why I'm putting this horse on my ticket. He's 2 for 4 at Gulfstream. They run 5 furlong sprints. That's not great. He's a sprinter. Logically, if you look at his form, he's probably best going 1 turn. He's going to be on the outside. Paco's probably going to have to gun him here if he's going to have any chance. But the dam is by Kitten's Joy, so there's plenty of turf. I'm hoping that Kitten's Joy Park can push him to get home in a mile. But it's a long shot here. But a 15-1 with Paco, who's hitting at 43% for the Carlos David barn right now. I'm going to take a shot here. I'm going to take a shot because I really don't want this thing to freaking chalk out.
Oh, you will get every bit of that 15-1.
Yeah, I know it's a long shot. I talked with Aaron about it, and it's if Paco wasn't aboard, if it was anybody else, I'd probably be like, no. But I've seen enough Gulfstream races to know what happens when Paco thinks he's got a horse that doesn't have a shot, but there's only one way to give it a shot. Look out. Just look out.
If he had the rail, I would give it more validity. But the fact that we've got to go, I mean, there's enough speed in here that he's going to have to really hustle to get the lead. Mm-hmm. To cross over. And I don't know if he's got that type of speed to be able to cross over without going 21 and change, which means that there's 0 chance he holds it a mile. I think that's the post position is what kind of kills the shot at this horse for me. If he was on the rail, I think you could make a pretty good argument.
Or as Chris Milo says, you get a second mortgage, put it all on Annex.
I like the 6-6 double here. Not going to lie. If you want to hammer that, I wouldn't be against it.
Well, let's get to it, Mike. We'll move on to the second leg of the late pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, March 27th, race 12. This is the $200,000 Grade 2 Gulfstream Park Oaks. Field of 7 3-year-old fillies. Not a very big field, but field of 7 3-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th on the main track. Remember, at Gulfstream, a mile and a 16th means that the finish line is the 16th pole, so it's going to play a little bit favorably to speed, which you're going to see in Mike and I's picks picks because we have full agreement here, including our top pick, the number 6, Millie Philly. Nobody in the Racing Dudes team even gives a shit what her actual name is. This is Millie Philly. This is our horse. We love her. 7-2. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
Can we get Millie Philly? Is that the French pronunciation, right?
It's Mille-Foy. It's not anything that it looks like.
Oh, cool. So Millie Philly, the 6 horse. Yeah, look, this last race, just chuck it out. I mean, if you go back and you watch that, she got shuffled back. She got cut off. Like, okay, yeah, like the comment says no kick. I don't even worry about it. This horse was wrapped up once it had absolutely no chance to win. And so Millie Philly, which is the correct pronunciation for everybody out there, even the people that name the horse, the correct pronunciation here is Millie Philly. I'm sticking with it. Look, this horse had a terrible trip last time out. This is second off the bench. I like the aggressiveness we saw from Mott first time off the bench. I like the fact that we're coming right back and we're showing the faith in this horse. We're not taking a step back. Clearly the class of the field in my mind. And I'm going to single this horse up in the $5 ticket. So I'm going 6-6 to start that out and then spread a little bit more later. Even on the 50-cent ticket, I'm only using 2 horses. I think Millie Philly is literally head and shoulders above this field if she's able to run and brace and get a clean trip. But I am a little concerned about a lone leader here. Mm-hmm. And let's play a game, okay? This game is called, what if Cone Lima is better on dirt and we just haven't found out yet?
I'm willing to play that game.
I mean, like, look, we started out on dirt, and then we broke our maiden on dirt, and then we went over and we ran on 2 off tracks against Stakes Company, and we haven't tried dirt since. Okay, that 71 Beyer was the best Beyer we saw from Cone Lima as a 2-year-old. Now we're a little bit older than the 3-year-old season. We're trying turf, and we are controlling speed. Tell me why this horse can't wire the field. I mean, that to me is like that. That's why I got to include this horse in the 50-cent ticket.
Everything about Cone Lima is crazy to me. The fact that this is a Texas bred who hasn't missed the exacta in 8 starts. It doesn't matter where she's running, what surface she's running, how far she's running. This horse is freaking awesome. And I don't care that she didn't actually win that last race. She gave a good effort, but she also is a front runner who didn't get the lead, got bumped and was shuffled way back, and still did a good job. So, I mean, listen, Todd and Irad is going to be a common theme throughout this sequence for us here for good reason. He's got some good ones lined up.
I hated Cone Lima in that spot. And I thought that she was absolutely done after the break. And then that horse it ends up winning after Spanish Love Affair gets taken down. By the way, that was a bullshit takedown.
Yes, it was.
Then Spanish Love Affair gets taken down, and Cone Lima gets put up, and I'm frustrated because I didn't have Cone Lima, but I'm also like, that's a really damn good effort from this horse. When a horse who pretty much needs the lead is able to miss the break and have a 3-wide trip around the first turn and rush up in the backstretch and still close for second, I was really impressed with what Cone Lima was able to do. And the fact that off that, we move over to the dirt, they must think there's a ton of talent here. And the fact that we had 2 good dirt races and we started our career on dirt makes me think the one may be better on dirt. And if that's true, the one might be the best horse in this field and is controlling speed. So let's use the one in the 6 and the 50-cent ticket and move along here.
I thought when you said play a game, I thought this is where you're going. So I'll take a turn to play a game here with you. Todd Pletcher has 3 fillies that were looking, a month ago like they were going to be good for the Kentucky Oaks. You had Zajel. You had 2. You had Zajel and you had Malathat. He throws Cone Lima in, so now he's got 3. Zajel he sends to Fairgrounds last time out. We saw what happened. Todd Pletcher never goes to Fairgrounds, so he sent his worst filly there. Keeneland's coming up next week. Todd Pletcher loves to win at Keeneland. He's going to send Malathat to the Ashland Stakes next weekend. He put Cone Lima here knowing that Malathat has been training very well and could very well walk into this field and win it backwards. So the fact that he's playing all these little chess pieces around and he's going to put Cone Lima here tells me this horse, I'm with you. She's got a really strong chance here.
And I like the quote that Jared just threw up, too. It sounds like Pletcher's excited to get this horse onto dirt. If everything's a go, I think you're going to get all of that 3-1 number. I think you may actually get a little bit higher, and I think this horse is running big. So I'm excited to have this on the ticket.
I wonder, Jared probably, because Jared and I get the PR. Actually, Jared gets the PRs and he forwards them to me. So I put that in the race replay, or in the race preview that's on racingdudes.com right now. So I was looking at that and I was like, that looks really familiar. Oh yeah, that's because I have read that before. So here we're taking a stand against the favorite, Crazy Beautiful, the 3-horse. 5-2 on the morning line. This is the crazy there were a bunch of crazy stats that I was finding on DRF Formulator.
None of these are verified, by the way. This is all just magic talking.
I sent you screenshots. I couldn't believe it either. Kenny McPeak is 37% in the last 5 years when his horse goes off as the favorite. That number increases when it's in a stakes competition or like a graded stakes race. It increases to what did I say? 40% when it's in stakes.
32% when he's a favorite, 32% under 3-1, and it is 37% as a favorite, and then it increases when he's a stakes favorite. Now,
Yeah.
can I make a quick argument?
Sure.
It actually, okay, I don't think that's that illogical, because anywhere in the U.S., an average favorite wins 33% of the time, 1/3, right? You're never betting Kenny McPeek for the connections. This isn't like a Pletcher horse or a Brown horse that got overbet. If someone's betting McPeek, the horse is probably the best horse in the race, and it's got to overcome being trained by Kenny McPeek, right? So, like, if you're going to be the favorite, especially in a stakes race, you got to think the horse is the goods, like see Swiss Skydiver, where you were just sitting all over Kenny McPeek, and the horse is probably half of those wins. So, it has to be a special horse to be the favorite for Kenny McPeek versus like. You could be the Chad Brown that just came over from Ireland and you're the favorite for Chad Brown. So it's the sample size and this quality of horse that's the favorite is got to be like taken into account in that sense, right?
It just doesn't make any sense. It like, because we always think, I mean, Jerry couldn't believe it. He loves to fade Romans and McPeek horses. I think we all do. When they're short prices, we just turn the other way. So that is partially the reason why I'm against Crazy Beautiful in this spot. I just don't think that I think the Devona Dale race, I think that was just a complete cross out for everybody. And she just, she was 6.5 lengths behind a 45-1 shot. So I don't like her here. You said that this would be your third horse if you went that deep. What do you like about her?
And she's a class. I mean, that's really where it comes to. Like outside of she's probably actually the classiest horse in this field. I mean, you had 2 grade 1s at the back-to-back starts in the 2-year-old season. She ran well in the at Keeneland in the Alciabad.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take that. And then she came back in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly and didn't run great, but was bet a little bit in that spot. Vequist was tough in that spot, so I'm not going to really hold that race against her. I remember Blinkers Off, maybe it was a year ago, kept harping about how well McPeek does when he puts Ortiz aboard. We were at NHC and you were telling me to play the Ortiz McPeek horse. Like the fact that Ortiz is on this horse, I think kind of tips the hand that McPeek does think this horse is ready to go. And to be honest, if I'm going to bet a McPeek horse, I'm not betting it first off a layoff. I consider second off. And I honestly think this is a 3-horse race. I really think it's a 2-horse race. But if I was going to go to a third horse, I think Crazy Beautiful is the only really other logical horse in this spot.
Yeah, I'm already, and I'm taking the second and third choices, so I really, really don't want to take the top 3. You just know that's not good ticket construction. So we're going to pass on Crazy Beautiful, use the 6-1 in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. Let's move on to
she's the favorite?
She's the favorite, 5-2.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, fade the crap out of that horse.
We'll move on to the third leg of the late pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, March 27th. Race 13 on the card. This is the grade $300,000 Orchid Stakes. Field of 10 fillies and mares 4 and up, going 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf. That is 3 turns for them to make. Favoritism is on the number 9, Always Shopping at 8-5, because of course she is. She's a head away from being 3 straight wins, going marathon distances on turf. Listen, if you wanted to take a single up here with Always Shopping, I think she's going to be a very popular single, which is why I'm going to use other horses around her just in case, because I think if this is the most logical single for a lot of people, Mike, this is where you find the best value here.
Well, I think you find the best value next race, but we'll get to that in a second. I agree with you. Look, Always Shopping makes a ton of sense in this spot. I think Always Shopping has to be on a ticket. I think this is outside. I mean, to me, this is a must use, not even a defensive use. I'm going to go 2 deep in my $5 ticket, and the 9 horse is going to be one of the fixtures in that spot. Look, I like this horse quite a bit. Like you said, Always Shopping has run 3 back-to-back good races. We got Pletcher, we got Ortiz. We're proven at the distance. We beat a couple of the top contenders in this spot. Always Shopping just makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about the unknown horse. We got one for Clement coming here from Europe, the 5 horse. Who we talk about this quite a bit. Look who trained and rode that horse in Europe. Mm-hmm. To me, that tells you about the quality of the racehorse that you're getting here. And in this case, that was Sir Edward Stout, if I remember correctly?
Yep, yeah. Stout trained, very talented trainer. William Buick, Ryan Moore, and O'Shane Murphy, all very talented riders.
You're getting literally a top 5 trainer from Europe with top 5 riders, 3 of them running in different levels of handicaps and stakes races for the 5 horse, who I also like the fact that every one of the lines says track leaders. This horse isn't one of those crazy closers coming from Europe. This is a horse that wants to be close to the pace, which I think makes a big difference when you're coming over and you're running in stakes races, especially longer, especially on the Gulfstream Park turf. I wish I could have picked a different jockey, not going to lie. A little more aggressive jockey just to make sure this horse gets involved early, because my biggest concern is the horse falls too far back. But I think that the 9 and the 5 are the two horses, and I think that the 5 is a value at 5-1. I have no issue with Clement taking the horse coming over first time, and the fact that we've got a good workout string going back a couple months. The fact this horse has been here for a while. I think all systems are go on the 5 horse. I like the aggressive placement. I think you're going to get a decent price on this horse come race day.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love it. I love everything about those two horses that you brought up. The fact that Christophe Clement found this spot for her to make her North American debut when he could have waited for a listed stay, an overnight stake, something a little smaller, a little lighter for her, because she has burned through all of her allowances. But that would have been, yeah, the fact that she shows up here is pretty telling to me.
She likes to win too.
She 3 straight
like wins, 3 of the last 5, improving time form every time. Like I think 5-1's a good price here.
The 105 time form that she got, granted, was on synthetic, but she got a 99 before that. If you use the time form European rate conversion to buy her, that's like a low 90s that she's getting in both of those spots, which is good enough to beat every horse in here, save for Always Shopping, unless she doesn't live up to that 94 that she got last time out, which is quite possible.
That was also last time as a 3-year-old. We're in a logical improvement angle here, first time out as a 4-year-old. So you have that step up as well because you've had a full winter to grow into a body.
Let's talk about the one horse that Dennis brought up here in the chat. The number 1, Warlike Goddess, is on both of our tickets, 10-1. This is a daughter of English Channel. Love English channels when they're getting long on the turf and as they get older. Listen, this isn't it's Julien Leperoux, so it's not a jockey that gets a lot of attention. But I love to play Julien Leperoux. It's worked out for me pretty well on this show before. She's exiting the very one stakes where she was 5th behind a bunch of horses she's going to face again here. It was her first start in 4 months. I'm willing to forgive her for that. I think that she's up against it from a pace setup wise, just because she loves to close from the clouds. But Julien, to me, he does his best riding from the clouds. So I will take this horse at 10-1. What about you?
I mean, I'm 100% on board. I think that last race is actually sneaky good. Antoinette wired that field. That was a wire-to-wire winner where no one really closed. If you look at Bella Laura, who runs second, was second or third the entire way around. It was a merry-go-round. You know the one horse that made up ground?
This is the one horse.
It was Warlike Goddess. And so the fact that we're going to get, I think, a little bit more pace in this spot, I think both the 4 and the 8 are going to want to go. I think that the one horse, you can't underestimate how good the one post is for a horse going 1 3/8 that wants to close too. You are on the rail right when the turn starts. So you're not losing any ground in the first turn, any ground in the second turn. You're going to be able to make your trip. I think the one makes a ton of sense. And I love the fact that this horse closed into a slow pace, into a wire-to-wire winner, into a wire-to-wire exacta. And this was the one horse running on. Now we get second off a layoff. You know I love me some English Channel. I think it makes a ton of sense. I like the 10-1 price.
Yeah, that's pretty damn great. All right, so you're using a 4th horse. I use those 3. But if I was to use a 4th horse, it is the 4 Morning Molly who you're using here. Talk about her.
Morning Molly, like I said, I think is the pace play. Look, this is your inside speed, and I'm concerned that someone gets loose. I just talked about how Antoinette wired the field last time. This is the horse that I think has the class and the ability to get loose on the front end. And like Jose Ortiz is one of those riders who I think is actually sneaky good when he's able to get an out and easy lead. He doesn't always not always aggressive enough to do it, and so you don't always see him there. But when he has the horse, he does rate speed pretty well. I like the last couple races. Micheline was the horse this horse lost to last time. Pretty good pony. Last time I checked, that horse wins some races. So I'm going to go with the 4 horse. Morning Molly is a horse that I think could wire this field. I like the fact that in this race, I feel like I've got everything covered. I've got the classiest horse in Always Shopping. I've got the speed player in Morning Molly. I've got Warlike Goddess, who is the step-up horse, and I've got the 5 horse Sorel, who I think is the unknown. So I feel like I've got this race covered with 4 horses.
We'll move on to the 4th and final leg of the late pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, March 27th. The headlining event, the Grade 1 $750,000 Florida Derby, sponsored by Curlin, presented by Hillendale Farms at Jalapa. And no surprise here, Mike, the favorite, 6-5 on this number 7 Greatest Honor. No surprise he's the favorite. That is a very short morning line. But then you start looking at the rest of the horses in here and you go, oh, yeah, I guess I kind of see it here. I mean, there aren't a lot of horses that scream they deserve to be the morning line favorite, and this horse is trying to be the first horse to ever sweep all 3 Kentucky Derby preps at Gulfstream Park. Does he do it? Is he on your ticket? Of course not. Tell us why.
No. We've got to start by talking about the Fountain of Youth, because that race is a big reason why this horse is completely off my ticket. Okay? Who ran second in the Fountain of Youth?
Drain the Clock.
Where's Drain the Clock? He's back to sprinting. He's gone. He's out of here. And you know why he's out of here? He came home just wildly slow. Okay, they went 111 for 6 furlongs. They went 144 for the 1.25 miles. Okay, they Drain the Clock ran a 26 in the quarter of a mile before they ran a 7-second 16th of a mile. You watch that race back and just trust me. Go watch the Fountain of Youth back. Watch Greatest Honor around the turn. I mean, I feel like I could have run as fast as Greatest Honor was around the turn. It looked like the horse was absolutely sucking wind, and it passed Drain the Clock. Congratulations. The horse was walking home. To me, this just sets it up where you had a ton of pace in that race. You have limited pace in this race. Okay. You had a sprinter that you're trying to chase home. You have 2-turn horses in this spot. Everything is different in that spot. And I don't think Greatest Honor is that good. And you know how I can tell Greatest Honor is not that good? Pompatu is 15-1, which is the other horse that's coming out of that race that was close to it and ran second to this horse 2-back. So if the best horse in that race is 15-1, the second best horse in that race decided not to continue on and wanted to sprint, the third best is now 15-1 in this spot. There's no way Greatest Honor should be 6-5. Now, I want to make sure I make this clear too. Pete Aiello makes the morning line, did a damn good job here because Greatest Honor will go off at 6-5. It's a good morning line because this is a round where the off odds are. I just completely disagree with the fact this horse should be 6-5.
Yeah, it's that's the thing. The idea of the morning line is they're trying to pinpoint where they think the public's money is going to go, not who they think is the best horse. And that's what makes it tricky is you're trying to guess what the public movement's going to do. So I'm with you. I think it's an impossible job to do the morning line. I think guys like Pete, John White, John Lees do a really great job. Hell, Aaron does a great job with the Fantasy League one. I can't even mess with that one. The 7 Greatest Honor is on my ticket, but is the last horse on my ticket. I'm with you. When we talked about the Fountain of Youth the Monday after, we both were like, that was terrible because he was, I think Greatest Honor was under the whip into the turn. He needed every bit of encouragement to get going. It reminded me of if that race was at Santa Anita, that horse is 5th because there's no way you can get that horse to win with just 6 little taps, underhanded taps. So I'm against him here. The number 9 Collaborate is my top choice. Was that your top choice as well?
It was.
Let's talk about him. Saffie Joseph Jr. stepping up from a 1-turn mile maiden special weight straight into him.
2 trains Drain the Clock.
Saffie Joseph Jr. He knows what it takes to beat Greatest Honor. And listen, the full preview for this is at racingnews.com. Aaron did a wonderful job previewing all these horses. He said it best. This feels like this horse is going to get loose on the lead. And if he does, actually, as Nick Feldman says, reminds me a lot of the 2019 Florida Derby when he had Maximum Security come in, got loose on the lead, and KF and Sia, it was all over. So I love Collaborate here.
Yeah, he's going to be a hell of a lot harder to catch than Drain the Clock. And the fact that immediately you had a horse, a trainer say, we're completely getting rid of our sprinter who's speed, and by the way, we're going to bring in this other horse who's speed, and we're going to throw him out there. Look, I think you need to be up close to this lead if you want to be able to win this race. I think that the 9-horse Collaborate fits that to a T. Yeah, there's some things I didn't like about that last race. I could nitpick about it, but I think that the pace sets up really well for Collaborate in this spot. Look, I'm not going to let Tough Luck Bob beat me. He's my other must-use in this spot. I think that you kind of have to use Spielberg because of how good the California circuit's been. The fact that he ships to Oakland, runs second there, now comes down here. He's going to be close to the pace. I wouldn't be shocked if Spielberg is the horse that just bleeping sends because that's what we've seen Tough Luck Bob do all the time. And so I'm not going to just say that Collaborate's going to get an easy lead because I think that Spielberg might send. But either way, I think these are going to be your 2 pace runners. I don't think they kill each other up front. And I don't see too much other pace. The horse that I like in third, and it's funny because I know it was mentioned in the chat already, look, Nova Rags is going to sit the trip. Nova Rags is going to sit right behind these 2. And I think it's damn interesting that Mott brings this horse in and not Candyman Rocket to run in this race. Because I think he knows he needs points to get in the Derby, and this is where you end up. And that 1 hole is a great spot for this horse because he's going to be able to get out and then tuck back right behind the 9 and the 10 and sit the trip. I'm not using any but those 3. I don't want anyone from coming off the pace. I want the first 3 horses around the first 2, and I think they'll be the first 3 horses around the last turn. I think they'll be the first 3 horses across the wire. Give me the 1, 9, 10, and let's move along.
I didn't use those other 2 horses other than Collaborate, but I am with you. I did. Oh, not Spielberg. But you make good arguments for it. For me, the biggest concern with Spielberg is the 4-1. And again, I think that's about what he's going to go off at. I think Collaborate ends up being the second choice because, as Aaron said, is the entire Racing Dudes team on Collaborate? Probably, and that usually means you're going to get about 50% of the price there. I think Collaborate would be about 3-1. I think Spielberg's 4-1, 9-2, 5-1 in that area. So it's the right morning line for this race. But I hate this horse so much. I hate him so much that
So do I.
And nothing about this horse is the traditional Bob Baffert type, especially $1 million horse, which is, you break their maiden, you throw them straight in the stakes ranks, and they keep progressing, but they also have like 6 to 8 weeks between starts. It's like every third week, Bob's like, yeah, throw Spielberg in a race. Yeah, throw Spielberg in a race. Like, it's crazy that this horse is succeeding despite the fact that he's doing everything against what his barn's typical MO is. So it's kind of crazy, but he's going to make $1 million lifetime by the end of the year just because he's running 50 freaking times before it's all over.
I don't think we can underestimate the class drop. I think that it has to be at least discussed. That from California to Oaklawn was a class drop. And from Oaklawn to Gulfstream Park, it's a class drop. Yes, they're all grade 1s, but he is facing lighter competition when he left California, and now he's facing lighter competition after he left Oaklawn. I mean, I don't think – when was the last time Baffert sent a freaking horse to the Florida Derby? I mean, I know we got Aaron in the background here. Maybe he can tell me. I don't know the last time Baffert sent a horse to Florida. So, like, the fact that he's just sending this horse here, to me, tells me that it's like, look at all those nevers. There's like 10 of them. The fact that he's sending this horse to the Florida Derby tells me that we have to expect Spielberg to be loaded.
Sorry, there's a million nevers because both bosses are in the background. They both replied never, and they're both under everybody's account when they reply. So
we're blaming Aaron. That's where we're going.
yes, we'll blame Aaron. I'm pretty sure Jared replied once, and Aaron replied to all of those. The 2 horses that I'm going to use here. Listen, I think pretty much every horse in this field has question marks, and I said this on Twitter. I think you just have to ride with the horses that you think have the best chance to answer those questions. So that's going to lead me first to the 5, Known Agenda. I went into this not wanting to pick him. I'll be honest. I did not want to pick Known Agenda. I'm still mad that Todd Pletcher had a highly hyped 3-year-old that completely shit the bed named Prime Factor. The big question here is, did the Lasix help him, or was it the blinkers that he added? Because last time out, over this course and distance, beat optional claimers by 11 lengths. It was never in question. Irad was aboard that day. Irad's back aboard here. But he had race day Lasix for the first time and blinkers for the first time. He's keeping the blinkers. He's losing the Lasix. Because he had one in the past without Lasix, I'm going to say that it's not the Lasix, but I understand if you're concerned. I also understand if you just think this horse isn't of that caliber. But your thoughts on Known Agenda?
That last race is tough. I mean, it was a 6-horse field where you're an even money favorite, and you win by 11. So how much do you really learn from that race? I mean, that to me was the issue. Look, on the Samo Bombs, there's going to be 6 horses that make the deep tickets next up and must use right now. The 5 was my 4th horse in. I think that if you're going to really spread, you got to use the 5. I don't know who else you use, so hopefully it's not your horse. I would also use Soup and Sandwich if I'm really spreading. Those 2, and then if you're going to play defensively, play Greatest Honor, are the next 3 that I would consider if you want to single the 6 and use all 6 of them here. I think that's a one route you could go. But look, the 5 has upside. We just aren't really sure what it is. And it's the same with the 8. Like we saw a really good maiden debut. The last race for Soup and Sandwich, I was really unimpressed by. But here we are, and I don't like the favorite. So if I'm going to spread like crazy, the 5 and 7 are both logical horses to spread around.
Well, you named the other horse I'm using, the 8 Soup and Sandwich. Listen, 20-1 on Soup and Sandwich. Again, 20-1. Let's talk about that. I understand why Pete made him 20-1, but maybe I would have gone a little lower. But I understand why he's double digits. You're not getting 10-1 on this horse at this point. Aaron likes him. I like him. Vinny loves him. So that means that Nick's got like $6,000 that from when he bet this horse last time. He's going to go ahead and put on Soup and Sandwich here. So the big question mark. This horse the dam is by Tappet, and God damn, does he run like he's by Tappet, because he is such an idiot when he runs in the stretch. But my argument is, if Mark Casse, Hall of Fame trainer Mark Casse, can fix that issue, this horse's talent says that he could very easily win this race in what is a very light edition of the Florida Derby. But that's a major question mark to have to answer. And that allowance, or the optional claimer race at Tampa against 2 other horses, you can't make mistakes like that in this race. You just cannot run like that. And so I understand if you're against him, but I think just the talent level there, if Casse can get him fixed, is what puts him over the edge.
Yeah, I mean, look, slow against bad horses is not exactly what you want to see. Slow and unimpressive isn't what you want to see when you're facing 2 bad horses. Like you want to just be dominant, right? And again, like you can't, like, it's hard for me to really get excited or be super negative about the 5 or the 8 off their last races. They did what they were supposed to do. They didn't look ultra impressive at doing it. They didn't do it that fast, but they did what they were supposed to do. So I'm not going to knock them too much for it. But, for me, I'd rather take horses who I think have pace edges. And I don't think that Soup and Sandwich is fast enough to stay with the 3 that I discussed. I don't think Known Agenda is fast enough to stay with the 3 that I discussed. Now, Known Agenda is one at the distance, which is obviously a positive, so you could take that. I mean, but yeah, I mean, again, like to me, this is if you want to go 6 deep here because you got a big opinion somewhere else, I would include the 5 and the 8. And I wouldn't recommend going 5 deep and not using Greatest Honor defensively, because at that point, you almost have to use the horse. Because if you're going 5 deep and you get knocked out by Greatest Honor, you're going to look in the mirrors after the race and be like, what the hell did I just do? Like, come on, let's be better than that. So, I mean, like, that's why, Greatest Honor is going to be the 6th horse in for me. And if I go 6 deep in this race, he'll make the ticket. But if I end up just 3 deep, I'm not concluding Greatest Honor at all.
Final word on the Florida Derby. Soup and Sandwich. Great name, terrible name.
A terrible horse name. Let's be honest. It's just an awful horse name. What are the parents' names? I haven't even looked at this.
It's Into Mischief and Super Scoop. So Live Oak bred this horse, and all of their horses have they use the word super, but like soup, the food. So that's why they did that.
Yeah, I mean, Into Soup would have been great. You could have done like Soup Mischief. That would have been fine.
I'm a fan of. I would have liked because the dam is Super Scoop. I would have liked like Super Pooper, but I don't think that they would have let me do that.
Yeah, I doubt that would have flown. But there's a lot better names you come up with. Soup and Sandwich just doesn't sound like a horse name. And Slim, I appreciate Slim's post, the Soup and Sandwich, but you got to dress up. You got to dress up the Soup and Sandwich a little bit better, man. Like, come on, this is the Florida Derby. We got to lift it up a notch. You know what I mean?
Thank you for bringing that. I'm going to pull that up right now because I thought it was hilarious. And then I looked at it. I was like, that is the most meager, bare bones, depressing looking soup and sandwich combo I've ever seen, not in a Subway.
It looks like he took a can of Campbell's soup and didn't even heat it up and put it in a bowl and then built a sandwich next to it without, it looks like it's just lettuce and 2 pieces of rye bread. I can't get behind this. We got to class up the soup and sandwich, Slim. Come on. You can do better.
This thing's just terrible. It's like it's like half of it. It's like he gave his newborn son Ollie half of his bowl of chicken noodle soup, and then it's like he made the sandwich for Ollie and put it on a big boy plate. Like there's a lot wrong with this situation. I'm a hospitality major, so there's just so much about this that at the very least you should have put the bread on the outside and put the bowl, and then you frame it, and then it doesn't look so as depressing.
Well, I also wanted I got questions now, man. Was this actually Slim's lunch? Because he clearly, this was a plan, right? He didn't just I think that he planned to have soup and sandwich today, in which case you got to, they're not even matching plates, it's the granite color and the placemat color are the same. I could nitpick this thing all day.
Kate must be out of town. That must be exactly what happened there. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks so much for joining Mike and I. If you're watching live the replay on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, do us a quick favor. Give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit like, whatever you can do. It gets more eyes on this program, which is pretty damn awesome. We're going to go through and give our tickets one last time. If you are watching the replay, take a look below. We've got them right here. I'll go ahead and start, Mike. I'm going 14689 with 16 with 159 with 5789. That is a $60 ticket for 50 cents. Go ahead and start with your 50 center, please.
So I'm going to play a 50-cent ticket. I'm going to go 1268 with 16 with 1459 with 1910. That'll cost you $48 for 50 cents. And then I will play a $5 ticket. I will go 6 with 59 with 1910. That'll cost you $30 for $5. And there's just built-in value by not using Known Agenda in that last leg. I don't even care if we chuck out in the first 3. Beating Known Agenda, that's not the right horse. Beating Greatest Honor will make that pick 4th worthwhile. At least I realized it.
I really thought you were just shitting on Known Agenda again. I was like, that kind of fits. You would have said that Greatest Honor would be your 5th one in, and Known Agenda's not even on there. If you look at racenews.com, hey, look, I think the Kentucky Derby's coming up. We got a Derby preview, Derby. Hey, look at that. The inside track to the Florida Derby wagering guide is officially for sale. Aaron was hard at work yesterday. Again, 14 races. Every single one of them is covered in detail with every pick possible recommended to you in the inside track to the Florida Derby wagering guide, available now at racenews.com. If you have any kind of a monthly subscription package with the premium products, this is going to be included for free, as will be, I got this list ready right here. I can throw that away. Florida Derby was the last one on that list. We have the Bluegrass Stakes coming up next week, which is going to have the Ashland Stakes as well for the Kentucky Oaks. Arkansas Derby the week after that. Then the Apple Blossom Guide. And then everybody gets a couple weeks off, and then we're into the Derby. But over at racenews.com, we have previews for the Florida Derby, the Gulfstream Park Oaks, which includes bonus best bets from Dr. Miranda, so go check that out. The Jeff Ruby Stakes is this weekend. We got a preview for that. the Dubai World Cup is happening this weekend. I didn't realize it until earlier this afternoon when Jared texted me saying, hey, does this look good for the podcast? And they're talking all about the Dubai World Cup. So go check them out because we're not talking about that. I don't even know who the hell's in the race. Jared told me who his pick was, even as a joke. And I was like, I don't know who the hell that horse is. So check them out. They will be live in about 36 minutes. So just enough time to go back to the bathroom, get a drink, snack, and come on back.
That's going to be a hell of a betting race, too. I think it's like 14 entries. The favorite's at 5-2. You've got a bunch of different directions you could go. It definitely a worthwhile race to look at. And it's just a monster weekend of racing, man. I'm excited. I'm going to do the bombs from Gulfstream Park Friday, Saturday. Sunday, we'll decide where we want to go depending on how Friday and Saturday go. We just missed today at Gulfstream, man. That damn 2-horse at 13-1 cost us the late pick 5. So that was a little frustrating, but we'll get him back. Saturday's a monster day in and itself. Horse Tourneys has a $45,000 live tournament, a $10,000 pick and pray. You've got NHC seats up for grabs on both Saturday and Sunday. You've got BC seats up for grabs Saturday and Sunday. On top of that, you've got a $10 million pick 6 pool at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. So this is going to be a just monster weekend of betting. Lots of different places to go. Lots of great horse racing. Can't wait to get Greatest Honor beat.
Just so I don't have to see this. All these photos of Greatest Honor all over racingdudes.com. Ugh, listen, if it's not Tiz the Magician, I don't want to see the same horse on here more than once. But also tune in tomorrow morning. The Rocket Hour will be back. Ricky's going to be previewing both the Friday action at Gulfstream as well as the weekend stakes action. So tune into that one. Lots of exciting action happening. Again, just go to racingdudes.com. We have everything that you could possibly want and need right there. Unless you want Dubai World Cup coverage, then give me about half an hour and I'll get you covered on that one. Samo Bombs, obviously you're going to be at Gulfstream Park through the weekend, you thinking, or just at least Friday, Saturday? For
sure, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll see how it goes. I may venture back to those Southern California routes on Sunday if I'm feeling it. But we'll take a look at the cards and decide where to go with Sunday.
Perfect. Make sure you tune in here on Monday. We'll be back at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern to talk about everything that went right and wrong this weekend, including reviewing our Pick 4 tickets. Until you can follow us on Twitter. I am at Curtis Kellaward. He is at SamoBomb18, number 1, number 8. Aaron and Jared are at race_dudes. And once again, they will be live here in just about half an hour. So just go get a break real quick. Come on back. We'll be there in the chat having fun with you. Until next time, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this weekend.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by racingdudes.com.